What is going on, everybody? We're here and we're live for a Sports Wars Sunday. And this is following a very chaotic Saturday in college football. We just got done talking about it a little bit before we went live, but obviously a big matchup in the Big Ten, Ohio State, Indiana, who really hadn't played anyone yet. And it seemed like Indiana was doing everything they could to prove to the world that no, they don't belong in the college football playoff over the first 3 hours of Saturday. And then over the course of the rest of the night, the SEC said, hey, hold our beer. We're going to lose a bunch of games, so it does make it look like Indiana belongs in the college football playoff picture. But we're going to get into those, some of the results, how it's going to drastically affect the college football playoff. We've obviously got some NFL games, not the greatest slate of NFL games today, just be frank. It does not look good. Some mismatches going on. But whenever we say that, there tends to be a bunch of upsets. So you never know what might happen. Daniel Jones, Beardo's New York Giants released Daniel Jones, letting him, be a peacock, and he's going to be able to do whatever he wants somewhere else. They let him out of the contract so he can go find somebody else to play backup quarterback for. And we had one of the coolest snow games in recent memory.
Yeah.
On Thursday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
Jameis Winston, Steelers, Browns, and this is why we got to go away from all of these domes. Okay, you're going to have a couple domes here and there. Not everybody needs to play in a dome. You need weather. You need a weather impact on the sport of football, because then you get moments like this, and it's just incredible.
Yeah. And that's the way football's supposed to be played. I mean, when we get into these winter months, it's classic, man. When the snow's pouring down, we've had so many classics over the years just in these snow games. You love to see it. Jameis Winston went off to get that dub for the Cleveland Browns on Thursday. And yeah, my New York Giants. I mean, I can go on a rant. Well, not a rant, but I can go on my tangent with the Giants. This is something I have watched every single Giants game probably since I've been 10 years old. I have never seen anything like this. Granted, to play devil's advocate, we've had Eli Manning for a long fucking time, and you're not going to cut Eli Manning in the middle of a season. You might bench him for bum-ass Geno Smith if you're Ben McAdoo. But what the Giants did to Daniel Jones in the middle of the season, not just benching him, making him the third quarterback, and then bringing in Tim Boyle during the week and saying, well, Daniel Jones, you're the fourth quarterback. And how about during practice, we're going to put you at scout team safety. The utmost disrespect to Daniel Jones, where the next day Daniel Jones was like, fuck this, I ain't doing this. I'm going to go request to get released to the owner. And they granted his request. Daniel Jones is now a free agent. I've never seen anything like this as a Giants fan from the Giants organization. And Daniel Jones is only part of the problem. Brian Daboll and the play calling, the offensive personnel that they have calling plays, it was Mike Kafka for 2.5 years. Now it's Brian Daboll. I haven't really seen any improvement in the play calling either. And they have weapons. Their offensive line has been pretty good. We lost Andrew Thomas earlier this year, arguably one of the best left tackles in the league. He goes down. Daniel Jones has had time back there, and he's got good receivers. You got Malik Neighbors. Darius Slayton's been there a while. Wan'Dale Robinson, he's a quick little guy. They have talent. They're just not putting it together, and there's been a lot of disruption and there's been a lot of displeasure in the locker room, especially certain guys on defense. Kayvon Thibodeau didn't really approve of how they treated Daniel Jones. Dexter Lawrence didn't really approve of what they did to Daniel Jones. Or do we have like an internal locker room struggle now, or are the players turning against their coach? I don't know what to expect from the Giants under this Daboll, Joe Schoen regime right now. What they're doing, it seems like the players aren't thrilled what's going on right now. And going with Tommy DeVito, yeah, last year it worked for a little bit because he was a rookie. You didn't immediately go to him after Daniel Jones got injured. You had Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor goes down. Now you're forced to go with Tommy DeVito, a kid, grew up a Giants fan, grew up in New Jersey, been a Giants fan his whole life.
Story. Yeah.
It was a cool story, but it worked last year. I don't know if you're going to reignite that spark this year by going with Tommy DeVito again. They're trying to. The media is trying to. Tommy Cutlets. You remember him last year? Well, he's starting again for the Giants. I don't think you're going to get that same spark because I think some of the teammates are upset with the direction that they're going with releasing Daniel Jones and how they treat Daniel Jones. That locker room likes Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, good dude, very athletic, not a great quarterback, but a decent quarterback, and we've seen some flashes of him being decent over the past couple of years, especially 2 years ago when they went to the playoffs and beat the Vikings in the playoffs. We have seen Daniel Jones play good. He is very mobile, one of the fastest quarterbacks in the league. He's good on his legs. He is part of the problem, but he's not the entire problem. And I think that the Giants, I don't see any hope for them right now for the rest of the season trying to reignite this spark with Tommy DeVito. I think Dable might have lost the locker room.
Well, here's the thing, and I think why it does become a problem is that I obviously don't think Daniel Jones is very good. And certainly getting rid of the best player on your team in Saquon Barkley didn't help things. And the problem is when they made the move, it's not like, hey, they benched him. We just don't think we can win. We don't think you give us the best option to win. I actually think they all probably feel at this point in time, Daniel Jones would give them the best option to win.
Yeah.
But they're not at winning anymore. They're at tanking now. So they want to tank. That's why they're not putting Drew Lock in there. Drew Lock would give them a better chance to win than Tommy DeVito. But they decided they're going to start Tommy DeVito, move Daniel Jones all the way down to third string. Then, like you said, Tim Boyle up from the practice squad. Daniel Jones, you're on the scout team. The reason that's happening is because they didn't want Daniel Jones to potentially get injured, get into a game and get injured, and then owe him for next year. Because if Daniel Jones were to get somehow grievously injured to the point, whether it's tear an ACL, Achilles, whatever, so that he would not be ready to play at the start of next year, the Giants would not be able to cut him, and they would be forced to pay him something like $26 million or something for next year when they were already ready to get out of it. So the team sees them doing these moves not as, hey, this is the best thing for the team, but hey, it's the best for the bottom line. And then to run Daniel Jones out there as scout team safety.
Disrespect, man.
Like just a couple days after he was the starting quarterback for the team. That is fairly disrespectful. And ultimately, this is not a sport where hurt feelings can really matter, right? But it does send a message to everybody else on that team that, wow, these people don't give a fuck about us. Like they really don't. They're willing to fucking, because that's embarrassing for the starting quarterback of an NFL franchise 2 days later playing scout team safety. That we don't hear about that shit. That stuff doesn't happen.
Nope.
So ultimately, it doesn't really matter if he's lost the locker room. This is a Giants team that is playing to lose out the rest of the way. This is a Giants team that is now playing for placement in the draft. I think that's pretty clear to me.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And like I said, if the Giants do wind up with that number 1 overall pick, I like to trade it away, collect some draft picks. And because I do not like the prospects in this year's draft. At quarterback,
I can't wait for you guys to draft Shedeur Sanders.
God, I hope not. I do not like any of the quarterback prospects coming out this year. I don't like Shedeur Sanders. I don't like Cam Ward. I don't like Jalen Milroe. I don't like any of these guys coming out.
Jalen Milroe's trash. He's not going to be a first-round pick.
Just wait. Just wait until we get to the offseason and all these so-called draft experts are hyping Jalen Milroe up. It happens year after year after year. These experts hype up the quarterback position, and that's where you get your Trey Lances, your Justin Fields, your Mitchell Trubisky's, your Will Levises, your Mac Jones, your Daniel Jones, your Dwayne Haskins. That's how you get all these guys, because these fucking idiots hype up the quarterback position because it's good for clicks, and they butt fuck the GMs of the NFL, and they feel like these GMs have to draft these guys because there's so much noise around them. And what happens? Oh, maybe one of them turns out. I fucking hate it. Yes, you're Bryce Young's, 100%.
So right now, here's the rankings. For quarterbacks, like some of the rankings I see right now for quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe, Carson Beck.
Yeah.
LSU's Newsmeyer, Quinn Ewers, and then
I don't want none of them.
Yeah.
You know who I want?
I know you want Arch Manning, but that would mean you have to lose the next, I don't know, like 25 out of the next 28 games or something if you want a chance at drafting Arch Manning.
No, what you do is you get the number 1 overall pick this year, collect a whole bunch of draft picks, and then next year you trade up.
Yeah, but then that's the problem then. So then you're trading away how much to get Arch Manning?
Or maybe the team that we traded the number 1 overall pick for is the worst team in the league the next year.
Maybe. Could be. If they draft Shedeur Sanders, maybe it's a possibility. Who knows? But yeah, did you see Elle Duncan on SportsCenter?
I don't watch ESPN.
Well, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch SportsCenter when it happened, but she was getting a lot of heat for what she said about Daniel Jones.
Okay.
And even the Giants then responded to it because they thought it was so kind of out of pocket. Let's listen to that here. Daniel Jones, the hits keep coming for him, even though he's not on a team anymore. This is Elle Duncan on taking the L. What a creative segment.
Normally reserved taking the L for Fridays, but Giants quarterback Daniel Jones just did something so inexplicable that we made an exception. After being benched this week, Jones took to the podium to say goodbye to the franchise and fans, but with 7 games left in the season.
All right, I wrote something down just to...
What a dumb bitch.
I'm sorry. You have to write this down? Then you go to Duke?
The opportunity to play for the new...
And now this goes into, Daniel Jones kind of minute-long thing talking about, hey, thanks you to this person, I appreciate the fans. It's a first-class organization. Daniel Jones, after obviously feeling probably pretty shitty, goes up there and wants to say goodbye to everybody and say, hey, I appreciate the Giants for what they've done. It's time to move on. And I didn't see anything really that strange or weird or wrong with it personally.
No. And at this point, this is after practice where he played scout team safety. Him and his agent already knew that they were probably going to request to be released, especially when they got the news probably the day before that they were promoting Tim Boyle for quarterback number 3. Daniel Jones already knew going into this practice that he was going to request to be released. This was the end. He already knew it was the end. This fucking dumb bitch. I'm not a misogynist, but damn it, they make it really fucking hard not to be.
I hate women who deserve it.
Yes.
But she's not done. She's not done.
You guys think he had this saved in his notes since 2020? In all seriousness, DJ, I could have saved you 90 seconds. A rewrite. Sorry you paid me $108 million for one playoff win, and I look forward to reviving my career as Brock Purdy's backup. The end.
Not a bad landing spot.
So this was on...
What an out-of-touch, ignorant bitch.
And the thing is, this was... Talking heads are going to have their opinions, whatever. She's an anchor on SportsCenter. This was during SportsCenter where this is what happens. Could you imagine the outrage from dumb whores like this if, I don't know, a white anchor had made fun of a black quarterback for reading a statement like this? What, did you go to Duke? You can't read? You can't remember that? That's embarrassing. Could you imagine the fucking outrage?
Wow, dude. What an ignorant fucking bitch, dude.
It got to the point where a Giants executive even put them on blast right here. Pat Hanlon, that's an ESPN personality. This is a Giants senior vice president of communication, Pat Hanlon. That's an ESPN personality would mock Daniel Jones' statement today is mind-boggling, given what has happened to that company over the past few years. Tone deaf.
Wow.
And she then appeared on First Take to talk about it. She said, is what I said any more disrespectful to Daniel Jones than what the Giants organization did? So to try to defend herself. But she's getting blasted by a lot of people. Good. I've been watching ESPN since inception, and honestly, what Elle Duncan did to Daniel Jones on SportsCenter was the most pathetic and disrespectful moment I've witnessed from an anchor. Boy, Elle Duncan sure thinks she's funny, but her cavalier mockery to Daniel Jones classless and sophomoric. Stop trying to be the class clown. All you end up looking like is the clown. So she's catching a lot of heat for what she said about Daniel Jones.
Good. And here's the thing, Daniel Jones, he'll be a starter in the NFL again. Here's my prediction. I think Daniel Jones end up with the Raiders.
I think so. What the reports are, Daniel Jones says he wants to go to a contender as a backup. Daniel, some teams that they're throwing out there are potential, like the Ravens and the Vikings and places like that.
For this year.
Yes, for this year.
And
then obviously next year, who knows? And this is what I said in my video. I don't think that it's looked great for Daniel Jones. He's obviously had a lot of time with the Giants, right? It's not like this is just he had a great year, then he had a bad year and they cut him. He's had a lot of time with the Giants, and I think he'll be a backup for the rest of his life, probably. But at the same time, look at all these other guys that we've seen, whether it's Baker Mayfield, whether it's Sam Darnold, what he's doing in Minnesota, whether it's Geno Smith, who at one point had a Giants uniform on. You guys decided it wasn't good enough. Now he's with Seattle. There have been guys that have certainly revived their careers after being cut by the team that drafted them when they didn't think that they were the guy. So, we'll see what happens going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you wouldn't take Geno Smith over Daniel Jones right now, huh?
Right now? No. I'd still rather have Daniel Jones than Geno Smith.
I don't know. That's a little wild.
But then again, it's
I don't think
the
Geno's
regime.
A top 10 guy, but
it's the regime. That's what we're doing. I don't like what I'm seeing from the Dable regime. Dude, last year, under the Dable regime, we had Wink Martindale as our defensive coordinator, one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. Brian Dable and Wink Martindale almost got in a fucking fist fight last year during the offseason. They almost fucking fought each other, and Brian Dable fired him after that. I don't know what's going on with Brian Dable. I liked him, but now I'm starting to think, is this guy just a fucking arrogant asshole?
The funniest clips to me still are going to be like the Hard Knocks clips of them deciding to stick with Daniel Jones and not take a quarterback. And then also sitting there talking about Saquon and the owner just being like, God, I tell you what, if he goes to the Eagles, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night. I'm going to be sick to my stomach if he signs with the Eagles. And now Saquon's gone there, is having an incredible season, is the backbone of that Phillies offense.
An MVP type season. If the MVP weren't a quarterback award, Saquon's right up there.
Potentially, yeah. Derrick Henry's still leading the league in rushing, I think, but Saquon's, I believe, is right behind him. So, he's obviously having an awesome year. But rough for Giants fans out there. Alex McCarthy, finally a Sunday when the Jags won't lose. Is this the last bye week?
I'm not too sure.
I don't know if it's this week or next week, but there you go, Alex. Dom H with 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Dom. Appreciate it, man. Chris Cran for 2. Let's fucking go, Bucks. Beat the New York Midgets. New York Midgets. Jameis Squinton-Nomo. Good morning, beautiful people. The Lord has blessed us with football. And yes, Jameis, he got that LASIK surgery and he found out that Bruce Arians wasn't black, apparently. Out there. But yes, we're gonna go over a couple of little clips from that snow game because that was pretty crazy. Chiefs slinging beef. Ball's back in the playoff picture. Just have to get past Mexican Tim Tebow next week. Cheers to everyone here. Also ran into Lewan at a high school playoff game. That's cool. Taylor Lewan at a high school game.
Mexican Tim Tebow, you're talking about Rayola, Nebraska?
I don't know why the Volunteers would have to play Nebraska.
Vanderbilt? Next week is Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Who's Mexican Tim Tebow? Vanderbilt?
Their quarterback.
All right. Interesting.
Vandy's had some games this year. The SEC, bro, the SEC had a rough night. Okay? Rough night for the SEC. At first, I'm sure SEC homers were laughing at an undefeated Indiana team that thought they belonged in the college football playoff that, went back and, kind of didn't get their shit kicked in completely. And honestly, a couple special teams plays, maybe Indiana's in a different position in that game. But we saw some chaos yesterday in college football. College football playoff, first year that's being instituted. So there's a lot more positions up for grabs and a lot more people that think they're in contention. And now there's a lot more people that think they may have just ruined their entire season. And that includes a couple teams here in the SEC. Now, first, obviously at noon, Ohio State beats Indiana. like I said, a couple special teams plays in that second quarter really changed the entire dynamic for Ohio State, but they never looked back. Very convincingly beat an IU team who this is the only game they've played this year, really. Like, this is the toughest opponent. IU is essentially, with a flip of a coin, pulled one of the worst schedules you can imagine out of the Big Ten. They basically played the worst teams in the Big Ten, and they will play the worst team in the Big Ten next week with Purdue. God, I would love to fucking beat the shit out of IU and just ruin their season. I don't care if we went 2-11. We'd beat IU, and that's all that would matter. But you look through a couple of these other games. Penn State escaped disaster against Minnesota. Notre Dame took care of business against Army in a very convincing way. Fuck Notre Dame. I hate the fact that they're going to be in the college football playoff. Fuck them. But now we get here into the SEC. Alabama goes in to what at that point in time was a 500 Oklahoma team. Not a very impressive Oklahoma team this season. And they get their shit stomped. Jalen Milroe looked like absolute dog shit. 3 picks for Jalen Milroe. And on one of them that ended up being a pick 6 gives about the worst possible tackle attempt you could imagine. Just bitch-made performance from Alabama, who's now sitting there at 3 losses. That might be it for their college football playoff chances.
Mm-hmm.
What about Ole Miss? You know, Ole Miss, hey, you know, we're in it. We're back in this playoff picture, boys. Well, maybe not anymore because Florida just beat them at Florida. Jackson Dart threw 3 picks in like a minute time frame. That was rough too. But then Georgia, big win over Massachusetts. You know, these SEC schedules, they really save the best opponents for later in the season. Fucking Massachusetts and UTEP for Tennessee. But then another big upset, Auburn over Texas A&M. So all of these 2-loss SEC teams who really thought they would be battling for a spot in this college football playoff, all of them are suddenly now with 3 losses. Now, the Auburn game was crazy for overtime. The Texas A&M receiver dropped it in the end zone. They should have won that fucking game. But that's what happens, I suppose. Like, so now we go and we look at these, the college football playoff rankings. Yeah. Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, those probably aren't going to change. Indiana's going to drop. Notre Dame will probably move up to 5. Miami wins. Georgia wins. And now that has propelled Georgia to a guaranteed spot in the SEC championship game. They'll face the winners of, I think, Texas and Texas A&M next week. But Tennessee's certainly back in the thick of things. Boise State won. I think they're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. BYU lost. Texas A&M lost. Colorado lost. This is truly going to be fucking chaos incarnate when it comes to the college football playoff.
Well, even when it comes to the Big Ten championship and the SEC championship, it doesn't matter. Win or lose, I think both teams are going to make the playoff.
For what? What'd you say? Both teams that are in them?
Both teams that are in the Big Ten and SEC championship, they're both going to make the playoff regardless.
Yes, probably. And obviously, you know, Texas A&M, if they beat Texas next week, then they do get a slot in the SEC championship. So maybe that does change things. We'll see. Those teams haven't played in like 10 years, I think, since Texas A&M left the Big 12. So that might be a start of an old rivalry back for them. But the big thing, though, is that first round bye. So at this point in time, you know, if the teams win out who we expect to win out, the projected first round buys would be Oregon, Texas, Miami, and Boise State. Now, if Georgia beats Texas, Georgia would get that. We obviously know how that would work. The winner of the championship will get in. But right now, I tell you what, if I'm Ohio State, I'm feeling fucking great. Because I want to hang on to that 5th spot if I'm Ohio State. I want to hang on to that 5th spot because you might not get a first round bye, but you do get to face the lowest ranked team, whoever that would be. And then you probably get to face Boise State. That might be like the path you want to go rather than going up against a different juggernaut, because I don't think Boise State is as talented as any of these teams, with the exception of the running back, who probably is. It should be between him and Travis Hunter for the Heisman. But I don't know. Indiana, I think they're going to get in. Just because I think a couple of these other teams have lost. I don't know if you're going to be able to keep them out if they maintain one loss on their schedule to an Ohio State team who people feel is one of the best teams in the country. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. There's things to hate about the 12 team. There's things to hate about the 4 team. There's things to hate about the BCS. We're going to see how this all plays out. But I guarantee you, just in the same way that the people who are 5th and 6th bitched and moaned and complained about being left out of the college football playoff before, same thing is going to happen for 13, 14, 15, and 16 this year.
Yep.
No doubt.
And then when we go to 20 teams, same thing's going to happen. 21, 22, 23, they're all going to bitch that they got snubbed.
NCAA
I don't think we're done.
Like,
I don't think we're done at 12.
I think that, like, to me, 16 has a nice number to it, but then I think we're going to stick at 12 for quite some time. But because I do think it's important to give an advantage to conference championship winners. And that's how you do it. That's how you keep that still meaning something, is with this first round bye. But you know, I was one of those people that said, you know, this is going to make the regular season basically insignificant because Alabama, it's not going to matter if they lose twice, they're still going to get in. Well, now they've lost 3 times. Now a lot of these teams have lost 3 times. And it's going to be tough. Another team that lost yesterday was the Colorado Buffalo, a team that a lot of people had been talking about and hoping to get in the college football playoff. And they did not look great last night in Kansas. They lose to the Kansas Jayhawks in Kansas, and that may have ended their bid. Now, obviously, you look at the Big 12 conference right now, a lot of 2-loss teams there up at the top. Arizona just beat BYU. Colorado Buffalo's down there at 6-2 as well. But that may have put a big chink in their hopes to make the college football playoff. I'm sure a lot of people would love if the Colorado Buffalo could get there, because then you got Dion, you got Shador, you got Travis Hunter, you got all the celebrities on the sidelines for this hyped up team in a terrible Big 12. But I don't know. I don't know if you got to watch any of that game.
I did not.
Yeah. Will Purdue get a win? Listen, they have 1 win on the season, but I'm praying and hoping that we fucking win the Oak and Bucket game and beat the shit out of IU. Fuck IU. Fuck the Hoosiers. Okay.
I did watch USC beat UCLA last night, though.
Wow.
I know.
Ancient Big Ten rivalry right there. USC versus UCLA.
They always play each other good.
I don't know if you saw, I just saw Sundowner say it in chat. Shador Sanders, did you see him shove that ref?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. It's
no call, too.
I'm shocked. Like, I'm shocked that there was not a flag of some sort on that.
Yeah.
You know, that was a pretty outright shove of a fucking official.
Yes, it was.
From Shador Sanders. So
yep.
We'll see if he gets punished. I don't think he's going to get punished at all for it, but who knows?
I mean, it's not like the NCAA can fine him. It would just be a suspension, right? Suspension for a half, suspension for a game. I don't think anything's going to happen, to be honest.
Say that again?
I don't think anything's going to happen to him. I don't think a suspension's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the chaos? But speaking of the Big 12, did you see the chaos in the Arizona State BYU game?
What happened?
Oh my gosh, dude. I got to show you some of these clips. So essentially, Arizona State at home, that coach is hyped as fuck all the time, but they're looking to close out BYU at home. They have the ball near the goal line, and they're trying to waste time. They're trying to run out the clock, including running back, wasting time off the clock. They thought they had ran out the clock. Everyone storms the fucking field because they're beating BYU. But as it turns out, there was 1 second left. So they had to clear everybody from the field. It was crazy, dude.
That's wild.
I think I bookmarked some of this stuff. So let's see if I can find it.
That's why rushing the field is fucking stupid.
Well, there was a lot of field rushes, and there were so many field rushes this week, and I fucking hate it so much. Didn't Nebraska rush the field? Didn't they storm the field for becoming bowl eligible or something? Am I lying about that?
I think you're right.
What What fucking world are we living in that you're celebrating being a 500 team by storming the field? Like, fuck that. I think they beat Wisconsin. Okay. It's not like Wisconsin's even very good this year. It's bullshit. It's so stupid. I hate it.
And then when Colorado beat Colorado State, Shedeur Sanders was like, yeah, come rush the field. And luckily, that Travis Hunter fumble was actually called a fumble and not a touchdown during that game.
All right, here we go. We've got some of it here. Making sure that, yes, of course, Nebraska just clinched their first bowl game since 2016. Their fans do not care it happened against unranked Wisconsin. I fucking despise this shit. I don't care if it's fun for the students. Go fuck yourself. All right, here we go. Let me share the tab. So here we are, and this is after you could see it's 4th and goal from like their own 50-yard line because they were trying to run as much time as possible. So running around, evading people, losing yards. They were just trying to run the clock out in Arizona State. Bizarre finish in Tempe, Arizona. Let's watch some of this.
By the 20. They're going to back up and just throw it deep.
Right. Just throw it deep, let the ball hang in the air, run out the clock, right? To beat BYU, a big-time one-loss BYU team. And obviously, everybody got really excited and really hyped out in Arizona, including the fans storming the field.
0. They're going to review it to double-check, because if not, BYU would have one play.
So the field is stormed. Right?
Right.
The field is stormed, and they keep on coming and coming and coming. And then when you see the ball hit the ground, there's 1 second left, right? So there's 1 second left on the clock. And the refs have to go and look at this chaos. The refs have to go find, and I have this right here, the refs have to go find Kenny Dillingham and tell him that there's 1 second left on the clock, and watch how this works with the reporter right next to him.
That's bullshit!
Right? So it was complete and utter chaos down there, which meant, right, that BYU gets one more shot.
Retzlaff steps up, moving to his right, hoists it deep. And it's underthrown, and it was caught, but short of the goal line.
Wow.
It's caught at the 2, but Arizona State still wins.
That's crazy.
Fucking crazy, dude.
Did they storm the field again after that play?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. But then there was like ASU students getting pulled out in handcuffs and stuff. Like it was pretty nuts. But yeah, I mean, that's a big time win for Arizona State. There's no doubt about it. And their coach was fired the fuck up. There's no way. This game's over. That's fucking bullshit. But
I love it.
The clock don't lie. So,
I love it.
Think somebody said, think of if that had actually converted, if that Hail Mary converted. I would know how they'd feel if that happened. I would know how they feel. But I'm just so tired. I feel like storming the field should be reserved for massive upsets.
Right.
Of important teams. Like, so your 3-7 team just beat the 21st ranked team in the country. Stay off the fucking field, you queers. Like, that's bullshit. All right. The fact that we saw so much of it yesterday just shows how pathetic it is. And it's people just want to be a part of something for their fucking TikTok and Instagram reels and shit like that. I'm so sick and tired of it. And as you see, it resulted in a massive problem having to clear all those fucking kids off the field because they win early. But It is what it is. At least we got some viral stuff out of it.
Yeah.
I think Ryan just turned into an older boomer. I have had this opinion for my entire life. Okay? My entire life I felt this way, including the entire existence of this channel. I've been bitching about people storming the field for games where you shouldn't storm the field. It's embarrassing. It's gay as fuck. It's cringe. It's stupid. Should fucking end it if that's who you are. If you want to go out there for celebrating Nebraska, a team with like a very storied history in college football, right? If you're Nebraska going out there celebrating your 6th win, you storm the field, fuck off. Literally fuck off. Maybe if you beat the number 1 team in the country or something, if Oregon had came there and you fucking beat Oregon, storm the fucking field, dude. Because yeah, storm the field. That's awesome. No one thought Nebraska would beat Oregon. You beat Wisconsin this year. Not Wisconsin for like 8 years ago. This year you beat Wisconsin. Go fuck yourselves. That's how I think. Fuck.
I agree with you.
GJJ says, hail all. Hail GJJ. Butter biscuit for 2. Boomer sooner. Eat it, Jeremy. Yeah. Jeremy MIA after Alabama takes that L. Stephen De Leon for 5. Notre Dame rules all. Hashtag Bills Mafia. Shout out West Texas. Fuck Beardo. Hail the Pokemon champ Savvy. Hi, Ryan's hair.
What?
What's up, Steven? Take a 5. Drew Lock isn't a Seahawk because they thought in New York he could win the starting job. They went with DeVito again. They're paying Lock 5 times as much. It's not about winning. I don't think. I think it's about losing. Eric K with 10 gifted memberships. Shout out to Eric K.
Thank you, Eric K.
B. Chain said UConn lost to Syracuse, but they kept sad that UConn lost to Syracuse, but they at least kept it close. Huskies of 5 years ago would have lost 52-3 to the Cuse. Beat UMass. They fucking suck. And 8-4. And go bowling. Go Huskies. There you go. Big UConn guy right there. B. Chain.
Cool.
ESPN is unwatchable. Some things definitely are. Mike Hill, Netflix being sued for the fight problems. Yeah, I don't know if that's anything's going to come of that. But yes, for the buffering. Mick Walsh for 2. This college season has been ratings gold. Fuck Bama. Yeah, it has been.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Keeler, have you guys ever thought about doing a short Wednesday stream to go over college football playoff rankings? Not particularly. And then also it would only be like, I don't know, 6 streams a year because they only start putting them out like fucking halfway through the season.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe Ryan. John Getz, I hate snow football and Myles Garrett this week. That's right. Your Steelers fucking lost in the snow, which we're going to talk about. Normally I can tolerate ESPN Colorado segments, but Dick riding Dion's insane. Big 12's weaker than usual. Well, I mean, the 2 teams who have, well, I don't know about Texas over the past few decades, maybe not, but certainly recently, Texas and Oklahoma. That's who you're looking at in the Big 12, and they both just left for the SEC. Baylor's having a down year. Baylor's had some really solid years as of late. They're having a down year. Kansas State seems like they're having a down year, so yeah. B Chain for 5. UConn fans would have rushed the field years ago if they finished a season with 2 wins. Too bad there was no one at games back then. Over on the Rumble side, Jose Contreras. Last week. Beardo, 10-3. John, 9-4. Ryan, 10-3. I'm sitting there at 101-49. You're sitting there at 84-66.
Let's go.
John is 74-42.
I'm making my way back up.
Couple, so. Say it again.
I'm making my way back up.
You are. I feel like I would have to lose almost every game. You'd have to win almost every game for you to catch up. But I think it's theoretically possible. This could be a 28-3 scenario. But the problem is you would have to pick different than me in enough things to be able to make up the ground. Which
we'll see how today goes.
Upset.
We have a very interesting slate of games today.
By interesting, you mean you got some rough ones?
Like dog shit, gross games today. Yeah. So we'll see.
John Getz for 2. Oh, and Justin Fields, why throw with him on 3rd? I think that
I'll be right back.
honestly, yeah, go ahead. I think that the Justin Fields bringing him in for a couple plays thing, obviously it worked out once for you guys because you got a pass interference call, not because Justin Fields, oh my God, Justin Fields is so great. But I really feel like that would, if I was the Steelers, I would kind of run that shit out there. Like some goal line scenarios and things like that, where you can have that added element of Justin Fields potentially just running it in. Obviously, it gives them a different look, but I'd have to imagine it fucking throws everybody out of rhythm. And even when you're making that switch, one of those switches, they barely had enough time to do anything. So I don't like it overall. But hey, yeah, Justin Fields, all the Justin Fields stands got what they wanted. All the Justin Fields stands got what they wanted. But it was a fucking crazy snow game. All right. We gotta watch some of this shit because I love snow games. Do I want to see every single game played in the snow? Of course not. Of course I don't want every single game played in the snow. But I also don't want every single fucking game to be in the damn in the, what do you call it? In a fucking dome. Domes are cool, great, more consistent play, all this shit. I want this every so often. This game didn't start off looking this way. This game started off looking like a normal ass game. And then I think maybe second quarter, midway through the second quarter, it started snowing a little bit and it just started coming down. And this is what the game looks like at the end. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns come away with the win. Pittsburgh Steelers do not. George Pickens fighting DBs on the Hail Mary at the end of the game. But look at this shit, man. This was amazing.
Garrett just got circled. They double team him. Wilson to the end zone again. Can he hold it in? Austin, yes, he can. Touchdown.
This is amazing, dude.
I love this shit, dude.
I love snow games.
Yes.
And I love how Prime, you can see they were drawing lines over the end zone. Like, right, so that you could tell where the fuck it was. Which you could see this line here because it's over the players too. And it was back and forth. Look at
Boswell to kick this. Right.
Boswell's trying to kick.
In these conditions, right now, kicking what would be into the wind.
Holy smokes.
41, 42 yards.
I mean, that is absolutely crazy. And I fucking love snow games.
Yeah, they're the best.
You could barely see Myles Garrett right there in the picture. But this was obviously the big, in my opinion, one of the bigger moments of the night. Jameis Winston on 4th and goal. Jameis Winston starting. Lucky they got that ball away with 0 on the play clock.
Yeah.
But Jameis Winston starting. Nobody ever wants to see Deshaun Watson in a Cleveland Browns uniform ever again in history. And he does this on 4th down.
Forward in motion. Winston under pressure. Gonna run it into the end zone. Whoa.
And yeah, dude, you gotta love snow. Kind of reminds me, to be honest, do you remember that rushing touchdown that Tom Brady had in the Raiders Patriots? Was it the AFC Championship game?
AFC Championship game, yeah.
2001 or whatever, maybe 2002, whatever exact year that was. But bro, yeah. And I remember watching highlights or commentary of that, and Tom Brady's like, I felt like I was going as slow as I've ever gone in my fucking life. Trying to make it there through the snow.
Yeah.
It was the Tuck game. Yes, it was the Tuck game.
Divisional game.
Divisional, okay. Yeah, divisional. Yeah, dude, we need more snow games. This is why like the Bears, one of the Bears' new stadium plans includes like a covered thing. I don't want that. I want Bears football. I want you to be exposed to the elements. I want Cleveland football for you to be exposed to the elements. I want all of that shit. And I hate that everyone's going towards the domes, man. They look awesome, and it's a great experience inside there, but you have to have some bit of fucking football remaining, you know?
Yes, 100%.
I don't know. Everybody's fucking, it's 72 degrees in the dome right now. At least in AT&T Stadium for the Cowboys, at least there's the threat of having to dodge falling metal shards, right? Because that stadium's starting to fall apart.
It's falling apart.
Season.
Yeah, it's falling apart, man. Holy shit. Fucking Jerry World falling apart.
Yeah, literally falling apart.
Yeah.
Wild. Ken Hagen, Beardo in the pit waiting for the lotion basket.
Put the lotion in the basket.
Be chained for 2. A snow game at Lambeau would be awesome to go to. Yeah, I've been to games, not snow like that, certainly, in Chicago, but where it's like flurrying, where it's cold as shit out and it's like at least snowing a little bit, little windy. I've never been to a true snow game where like enough is falling you can make snowballs out of or whatever. But that would be definitely fun to go to sometime.
Dude, growing up and playing youth sports in Pennsylvania, I played my fair share of snow games, like actual playing in snow games. It's a lot of fucking fun.
Mick Walsh for 2. Denver in the snow is epic. Go Broncos. Well, the Broncos are playing this week, as are a ton of other teams. So we might as well get to some of those picks that Jose Contreras so nicely has been keeping track
Let's do it
for the entire year. Let's see what we got. We move this tab, and here we go. Let's share the screen. And let's make our picks for this Sunday.
Yeah.
The first one, as always, shows up for me because it's the Bears. Vikings versus the Bears. The Bears who did everything they needed to beat the Packers last week, except, make the kick or not have the kick get blocked, I guess we should say. But obviously a really solid game from Caleb Williams. This Vikings defense is much more difficult and tenacious than that Packers defense. So despite the fact that they were working on getting the ball out quicker and Caleb Williams had a really solid game last week, it's going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of exotic blitzes and pressures. I was surprised the Packers didn't blitz more. I think they should have blitzed more, especially knowing the weakness of that Bears team, but they really didn't. And then when they did, Caleb Williams was very effective. It's going to be a tough game for the Bears. I'm picking the Vikings in this game, but I certainly don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility that my Chicago Bears win this.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings. I'm going to lay the points to the Vikings, too. I think they cover that 3.5. Sorry, 3. They cover that 3. 100%.
There you go. So we shall see. But obviously, I'm going to have my eyes glued to that game the entire time, seeing what we're going to do. And when they're going to finally fire Matt Eberflus because he's a fucking queer-ass bitch who sucks. Lions, Colts. The Lions who have been steamrolling everyone. The Colts coming off a solid win last week and maybe the best game of Anthony Richardson's career. But I think the Lions go in there and I think they put their foot on the Colts' neck and they don't stop the entire time.
What about the 7 points?
Over. Yeah, I like they're going to cover it. Yeah.
Yeah, give me the Lions. I'm hammering the Lions. I'm going to lay the points with the Lions. Shit, you could even please this up to a fucking 10-point spread, and I think the Lions will cover it.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions last week, obviously it was at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I think they had maybe the biggest spread that they've ever had as a team. or sorry, the biggest they were favored by more points than I think the Detroit Lions have ever been favored, maybe in history, at least recent memory. And they put up a 50 spot.
Yep.
So they're out shit. They're also not going to sit there and not push on the gas when they've already won the game. So I don't really think you have to worry.
The Lions?
The Lions are up 13 points and they just kind of give up and let the Colts score. I don't think we're going to see anything like that.
No, dude, the Lions, Dan Campbell has zero problem running up the score. Dan Campbell wants to run up the score. Lions big. That 50.5 point total? Fuck. You almost have to feel obligated to take the over in that.
Yeah. The over is questionable. We'll see what happens. Lions could do it just by themselves. You're right, but
yeah,
we'll see. It's an away game, but it also is at Lucas Oil Stadium.
It's in a dome.
I'll be interested to see, what they do there. But Lions look like probably the best team in the league right now. No lie. Patriots, Dolphins. I feel like we just had this matchup, but maybe I'm just misremembering it. But the Patriots go to play the Dolphins. Miami's favored by 7. I will be taking the Dolphins in the game. Drake May and the Patriots on the road. I imagine Drake May will have maybe a forced throw or two. Tua might as well. Who knows? But a lot of people feel good about the Dolphins with only 6 losses and a fairly easy remaining schedule. So, and I mean, let me look at the schedule here and I'll let you know who they fucking play. So down the stretch, Patriots, Packers, tough game against the Packers. Jets, that's a win. Texans, tough game. 49ers, probably tough game. Then the Browns and the Jets. So you would think they've at least got 4 wins there.
The Patriots or the Dolphins?
One of these other ones, you know.
Is that Patriots or the Dolphins?
The Dolphins.
Okay.
Yeah, the Dolphins are. Yeah, that's the Dolphins' remaining schedule. So, but I'm taking the Dolphins in the game.
Yeah, I'm picking Miami as well. I don't like the spread here. I do not like the spread here. My gut tells me that the Patriots are going to cover that 7 points, but then again, New England doesn't play Miami well down to Miami. I think the Patriots cover. I do think the Patriots cover this. I could see this being like a field goal game or like 4 points in between them, but I'm going to take Miami to win outright, money line.
So guy says, fuck your OSU kennel. I'm not an Ohio State fan.
It just ignore him. Just ignore him.
At all. But all right, Buccaneers against your Giants, who are 0-5 at MetLife Stadium, which is a new stadium. Or at least built recently. And Tampa Bay, I got Tampa Bay taking it.
Yeah, I got Tampa too. And I'm going to lay the points with Tampa too. I think they cover that. They cover that 6 points.
Cowboys, Commanders. Washington's an 11-point spread. It's impossible for me to pick against the Commanders with the Cowboys team that is like, I think 5 of their top payroll players aren't even playing in this game because of injury. The Cowboys are fucking done, obviously. So Commanders by lack of a better option.
Yeah, give me the Redskins. Give me the Redskins, and I think they'll cover those 11 points too. I think it's going to be a fucking blowout.
What a year to be in the NFC East. I remember when we were just like, the NFCs, they just all beat up on each other, and, you know, you're lucky to come out of there, 9-7 or whatever. Yeah. And now it's just like, it features 2 of the worst teams in the fucking league, the Giants and the Cowboys. So, like, those divisional games for the Commanders and the Eagles, no fucking problems.
NFC East smash mouth football, man. That's how it was. The winner of that division was always 8-8 or 9-7.
Chiefs, Panthers. I got the Chiefs. There are a lot of very lopsided games this week.
Give me the Chiefs, but I do like the Panthers to cover. That's 10.5 points. That's a lot of fucking points, especially for the way that the Chiefs have been playing this year. And the Panthers are on a 2-game winning streak, are they not? I don't know if
they've won 2 in a row.
Yeah, they beat the Saints and they beat the Giants.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot they had the Giants. Yeah.
So I like the Panthers to cover. 10.5 is a lot, but give me the Chiefs to win money line for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you just bet for the Chiefs not to cover the spread, you'll make money like consistently throughout the course of the season because they consistently get very heavy point favorites, and like the public betting market oftentimes bets on the Chiefs, and those get driven up and up and up before the game, and the Sharks come in and fucking bet the right way. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the Panthers. Bryce Young revitalized. Titans and the Texans. I'm taking the Texans at home, but I don't know if it's going to be easy.
I'm taking Houston as well, but I think Tennessee is going to cover that 7.5. Give me the Texans, 40.5 points. Give me the under on this game. I think it's going to be low scoring, like 21-17.
I see Ryan Fitzgerald, not the Ryan Fitzgerald, but says Mahomes has massively regressed from a few years ago. He can only play well in crunch time, but is average the rest of the game. I don't think that he's regressed. That offense is not playing the same way. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes is a worse quarterback today than he was 3 years ago. But you also have to look at some of the pieces that they're trying to plug in consistently throughout this season. They've had a lot of injuries on the offensive side of the ball, and already they had a lot of young guys. So, like Xavier Worthy, speedster, can get open, but he can't stay in bounds. He can't get his feet down. He's not a receiver. And they've been trying to work with these pieces, bring them in. I think that's a lot of the struggles that Kansas City's going through offensively, to be honest with you. And Travis Kelce is old. Like, he's old and he's taken a lot of hits. And he is not the fucking athletic dude that he was 4 years ago. He's just not. So I don't know if Patrick Mahomes has regressed. I just think that offense struggles with its personnel right now. If you remember, last season, the Chiefs offense, which had been retooled, they really struggled until finally towards the end of the season, they really got something going with Rashee Rice, when Patrick Mahomes found, hey, that's my guy now. This is now my guy, my number one receiver. I have a connection with him, Rashee Rice. And they started playing a lot better. And Rashee Rice obviously got taken out, I think, by Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
On that interception where he's trying to make a tackle and he takes out Rashee Rice. We'll see. I have no confidence that they're really going to be able to turn around before the end of the season, but we'll see. Broncos and the Raiders. I'm taking Bo Nix and the Broncos against the Vegas Raiders.
Me too. Divisional game, AFC West. Gardner Minshew. You know how I like Gardner Minshew, man, and I like the Raiders. But Antonio Pierce is a joke of a head coach. And I like the Broncos, and I like the Broncos. I'm going to lay the points with the Broncos. They're going to cover that 5.5.
Yeah, Antonio Pierce needs to get fired soon. So that Stephen A. Smith can go and complain about black coaches not getting a chance. 49ers and the Packers. Now, we should point out this is a very banged up 49ers team.
No Brock Purdy, no Nick Bosa.
Correct. Brock Purdy's out. Nick Bosa's out. Is Kyle Allen? Who's the backup there?
It's some fucking fuck off. You can find it.
Yeah, let me actually go here.
Kyle Allen's with
Brandon Allen, not Kyle Allen.
Brandon Allen.
They should just play Josh Dobbs, man. Just put old Josh Dobbs. He'll win a game for you.
He's got a clutch factor in him. Yeah, well, when you put him in those kind of situations, Josh Dobbs can win you a few games. Give me the fucking Packers -6.5. They're going to cover. Josh Jacobs is going to score. Josh Jacobs might score the first touchdown of the game today. I'm taking the Packers with that with -6.
I'm taking the Packers too. The 49ers no longer get any trust or anything from me. In fact, you know what? You should just fire Kyle Shanahan right now. He's a worthless head coach. I'm sure Chicago wouldn't want to give him a call. Just fire him. Fire Kyle Shanahan and get him the fuck out of there. But no, for real, I think that the 49ers, even when they have been at their healthiest this year, they've just struggled in these big situations, in these big games, and even some in the not big games.
Kyle Shanahan is his own worst enemy. He beats himself. Kyle Shanahan has shot himself in the foot on the biggest stage 3 or 4 times now. He overthinks, he overcomplicates things, and he's his own fucking worst enemy. I don't know what it is. Kyle Shanahan just he can't get it done, man, on the biggest stage. I don't know what it is. Here's some Prize Picks locks for you. Josh Jacobs, first TD score. Also, Jordan Love, he's throwing a pick today.
Yeah, Jordan Love will always throw an interception. Yeah, I got the Packers at home. I really wish that the 49ers were healthy, and this could be a game when everyone's, or at least everyone's close to healthy, but it's just not going to be the case. So, got to take the Packers. San Francisco 49ers, a couple years. Look good. I even picked them at the beginning of the year to make it back to the Super Bowl again. That was my pick to start the season. Obviously, they got very injured. Those were some problems. But even as they've got guys back, it just has not worked out for them. So that's the price you pay for being in a gay fucking city. All right? San Francisco, gay as shit. Bunch of homos there. You get what you deserve, I suppose. Cardinals, Seahawks. Interesting game. Interesting matchup.
A lot of
The
stakes.
Cardinals, who right now are at the top of the NFC West, going to play the Seahawks. A stadium that we used to be like, the home field advantage, the 12th man, blah, blah, blah. Well, they're 2-4 home this year. So
yep, not anymore.
I'm taking the Cardinals on the road, which is a tough one. That's a tough pick, man. And I think the Seahawks are a fine team. I think they have exactly the record they deserve. I feel like they're a 500 team. They played well last week, obviously, to beat the Niners. Arizona has played more consistently throughout the year, even when Call of Duty is out. So I'm going with the Cardinals, but this is a coin toss.
I'm going with the Cardinals too. Coming off a bye week, though, that's the thing that worries me. Kyler Murray has had all week to play Call of Duty. I don't know about much practicing or film study he's been doing. I do like the Cardinals in this game. James Conner's having himself a hell of a year. The Cardinals are just finding ways to win games. I really like the Cardinals in this matchup, especially against the bum-ass Seahawks with bum-ass Geno Smith. Geno Smith is also going to throw a pick today. James Conner also might score the first touchdown in this game as well. Give me the Cardinals -1. I like the Cardinals today in Seattle.
And then Sunday night, Eagles-Rams. You know what?
Under.
Give me the home team LA Rams.
Oof.
Give me the Rams in this game. We at least need to have one game where we pick differently.
Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles. Prize pick, Saquon Barkley. Total rushing yards today, I believe it's 95.5 rushing yards. Take the over on Saquon's rushing yards. He's going to have himself a huge game tonight. But take the under on the total. I like the Eagles. I'm going to lay the points with the Eagles. -3. Eagles are winning tonight.
Yeah, that is actually a very interesting matchup, I think. Rams obviously struggled with injuries, but have fought and clawed their way to a 500 record. We'll see. They've got a shot in that NFC. They're only one game back in the NFC West. So, and the Steelers or the Eagles have won way too many games in a row. I don't like it. Fuck Nick Sirianni, that bitch.
Yeah, he's a fucking dumbass.
He's a piece of shit.
Very good game tomorrow night.
Yes, tomorrow night is probably the game of the week for a couple reasons. One, the Ravens and the Chargers. Big AFC matchup, especially with the Chargers reeling off with 5 straight wins or whatever they've had at this point now. And, of course, the Harbaugh Bowl, the Harbaugh effect. Jim and John Harbaugh facing each other again. In L.A., Ravens coming off a bad loss. And, I want to take... I really want to take the Chargers. I really want to take the Chargers at home. And you know what? I'm taking the Chargers. I'm taking these two road or these two home underdogs for these primetime games.
Son of a bitch.
I fucking hate the Ravens.
I'm taking the Chargers, too. I like the way that Justin Herbert's been playing. He's been playing scrappy. I like this villain arc that Justin Herbert's on. J.K. Dobbins, revenge game for J.K. Dobbins. I think he has a big game tomorrow, maybe 2 touchdowns scored. The Ravens have kind of lost their identity. I don't know why they're moving away from rushing the ball at Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's been having a great year. A little shaken up last week, an early fumble last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. They've just kind of they've lost their
Justin Tucker struggling.
Justin Tucker struggling.
Justin Tucker is now no longer the most accurate kicker in NFL history.
Ooh.
He's been so bad this year that he has now lost that.
Wow.
I think it's like Eddie Pinheiro for the fucking Cardinals or some shit.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that's wild. Isaiah Likely can't hold on to a fucking ball. I like the way that the Chargers have been playing. Give me the Chargers tomorrow night to cover that 2.5 points and win money line as well.
The Chargers feel like one of the more very much bought in, all together, all in teams right now, and that's all Harbaugh. That is the Harbaugh effect. The only other one that I would put in that category is the Detroit Lions with Dan Campbell and what he's doing with them. It just feels like everyone's on the same page. Everybody believes. Everybody has each other's backs. That's how that team feels right now. And the Ravens kind of feel like they've lost a little bit over the past couple weeks.
Right.
And
yeah.
So that's really the only reason I'm making that pick. I think the Ravens have all the talent in the world, but what all come together, we'll see. And that's it. That's it for this week's picks. Let me check over on the Rumble side. We appreciate the over 100 people that are watching us over on Rumble, and we appreciate the almost 900 people, 1,000 people altogether watching us on this Sports Wars Sunday. See what else we got here. Went to win 409 for Jopa in the snow against Illinois. Thanks, John Getz. Is a Dunze worth a flex start? I would say it depends on what you got, but I think that, and one of the things I talked about for a while was less plays using, Keenan as maybe a primary route and more with Roma Dunze. I really liked what Thomas Brown did with this team in terms of using the personnel the right way with DJ Moore. DJ Moore is a fucking physical, hard running player. He runs aggressive, hard routes, but he's not always the most consistent. That's one of the things we've heard, actually, is that DJ Moore's not always the most consistent in terms of the depth of his routes or keeping it consistent. So it might be a little difficult for him to run some of those unless you see him wide open, you get the ball to him. They used him exactly the right way last week. Roma Dunze needs to be targeted more, and I think they did that last week as well. If I had Rome on my team, depending on whom others were, I'd consider flexing him. Yeah. I would consider flexing him. Right, I'm a Panthers fan. DJ Moore's great. I love DJ Moore. But you gotta use him the right way. And I think the Bears are starting to use him the right way. And that's it. We're all caught up on the YouTube side. And that's all for us today, guys. What do you got going on, Beardo?
Nothing much. Just going to watch some football. Got some Geeks and Gamers stuff going on this week. Quick prize picks. Are we still doing prize picks, Ryan?
They're no longer like a sponsor order, but that code still works, though.
Okay. The code still works.
Mm-hmm.
Quick interception. What's the family-friendly term to use for a parlay? A set of your
combo, whatever you got though.
Yeah, your set of
the lineup.
Here's a 3 lineup, little lineup that you can do over on Prize Picks. Interception picks. Tua's going to throw a pick today. Jordan Love's going to throw a pick. Gardner Minshew's going to throw a pick. Set those 3 up, all for an interception. They should have more than a half an interception. That's easy money, guaranteed. They're all 3 throwing picks today. I'm playing it.
There you go. All right, guys, that's it for us. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about all the games that are happening today and, what we got right and what we got wrong. We'll see what happens. But thanks for hanging out, and we will talk to you next week here on Sports Wars and tomorrow on Monday Evening Quarterback. Bye, everybody.